Immerse yourself into the animated world of Malcolm Wope, known as Rocketboi, a Cape Town-based illustrator, concept artist, character designer, and director, known for his work with major studios like Dreamworks, Netflix, and Studio Mappa. Malcolm's artistry shines in projects like Star Wars Visions, Attack on Titan, and his debut short film for Disney Plus, Mkhuzi, Spirit Racer. Join us as we go inside the world of our creator as animations capture the true art of action and storytelling.
What do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
Every time, bro. It's too good.
Hey, man. Thank you for doing this, bro. I know you're up to like freaking 9 a.m. yesterday working. And so I appreciate you, bro. I know how busy you are. I know your schedule's crazy, man.
It's the grind, but you got to support the friends. And I've been we've been talking about this for a while. I think.
Yeah.
So it's dope.
Amazing, bro. So I think a cool place to start, bro, Malcolm, we were watching your Netflix documentary now,
I have a Netflix documentary?
We're talking in the future, bro. We've got a Netflix documentary. Maybe it's on a different show. Maybe it's an animation. Maybe it's a mixed media. I would imagine it would be some sort of great creative work coming from you. If we were watching the documentary about your life, where does that story begin?
It definitely begins in Cameroon, where I was born.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Oh, shout out Francis Ngannou.
Hey, we go. That's my boy.
Hey.
Embiid. Basically, my dad was... he used to travel quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of free time at home. And like my parents were fairly strict, so they were very much like, get to your books, study, that type of thing. And I was like super fascinated by games and stuff at an early age. I went to a friend's house and he had like the Super Nintendo back in the day, Street Fighter 2. I was like, damn, this is dope. And I'll beg my parents like, yo, please buy this for me. And they were like, nah, like you don't need that. That's like brain rot.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay. Because I was so obsessed with it, I started drawing because I was like, that's the closest kind of
medium to
experiencing it, right?
Wow, bro.
So I just
How old are you this time? Like,
I must be like 6, 5.
Wow.
5, 6 around there. So I'm just drawing.
Do you remember what game? What was
Street Fighter was the one.
Fighter.
Yeah. So I used to go to my friend's house. Gila was his name. So I go to his house, play a whole bunch, get home. I'm like, I want to play it, but it's in my head, right? So I'm I'm drawing on the table. And then my parents, for as strict as they were quite supportive of it because they were like, see, you can make your own games by yourself. So I was like, okay. And I think that gave me a bit of kind of some, I don't want to say entrepreneurial, but like a creative spirit where I was like, I can make things and enjoy those things and make things for others. And over time, I started like, I'd draw stuff and then like create little games for my friends to play and stuff like that.
Crazy, man. And your parents, bro, what are their backgrounds? Like, what do your parents do?
My dad's an engineer. He's a petroleum engineer. And he kind of worked around Africa. He used to work for Engine actually for a while as a project manager. And my mom, she was a teacher, but then she sort of raised us to a certain age, and then she went back to work. So
crazy. Okay, so they appreciated like, he's got some skills. The man can draw. Like he's got some.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing with my dad is he also had he had some drawing skill. But he had to make a choice between going in the more sort of like STEM engineering
technical,
or going into art. And then he obviously went sort of the engineering route. So that's why like whenever he sees me, he's like, oh, you're a version of me that like never happened.
Left brain.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. But like I think it's also accustomed to the times that they lived in, that engineering route meant you can provide for the family. Like if we're thinking back then, like...
Yeah, that's
like...
The middle of the documentary gets heated, bro. It gets heated. But yeah, so that was the vibe. And then we started traveling with him. My dad he studied in Colombia.
Yeah.
So we moved with him to the US for a while.
Okay. Oh, crazy.
We went for a year. And that's where shit blew my mind because like for the first time, so in Cameroon, right? I don't know if what it was like in South Africa back in the day, but in Cameroon, TV started at like 6. That's when you didn't have like 24-hour TV. It started at 6.
Crazy.
And you had like one animated series at like 7, and that was it, right? And you just got to live with that.
Crazy.
Go to the US. I'm a 6-year-old kid. 24-hour channel dedicated to I'm a Popeye, bro. Like just that, bro. And I was like, what the heck? And that just blew my mind because I was just like, like everything that I had been yearning for was just all there. And then that's the first time I saw anime too, and I was like, oh, they make this shit for adults. What the fuck? So I started like going crazy, right? This is a person that was withheld from a lot of this like kids media.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like you go to a place where there's just like a whole capitalist empire directed it at this young brain, right? Crazy. So I just absorbed it all. Started like took drawing to the overdrive, and then we went to France, and then we came to SA. And our SA trip was actually quite interesting because we came here 95, so 94, whole country changed.
Yeah.
And my dad had a choice between going to the US and coming to SA, and he was like, no, I want to come to SA because this is like the opportunities are rife here. Mandela got released, the president, and this is where we need to come. So
and culturally, I'm sure it's closer to
Cameroon.
You know what I mean? It's like Africa at the end of the day. You know
exactly. So we fly here. First day of school, get into a fight because I'm different. So these kids are like calling me this, and that. So yeah, like school was a rough start for sure. It was very much a culture shock.
And you guys are in Cape Town that time?
We're in Joburg, actually.
Johannesburg, okay.
Yeah, Sandton side.
Okay.
I went to a school called Montrose Primary.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was tough. So I think what happened was because that transition was so tough, I started kind of like withdrawing into myself. Because in Cameroon, I was very much like extroverted kid. Come here, new environment, blah, blah, this and that. So I was like, oh shit, okay, I need to start like watching myself, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of withdrew, and that's when another step of the drawing sort of started pushing a lot more.
And your process this time, bro, you just, we're talking about a time where you can't just pull up a reference on your phone and like, where are you finding
memory?
Just memory from shows?
It's literally like friends with games. I'll go there and I'll play it too. I'm on player 2 side, right? So I'm just like taking it in, and I'll go home and I'll just draw my ass off. That was basically the vibe.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So I'm just drawing a lot. And then we moved to Cape Town.
Okay.
And I think Cape Town was when I really found my footing. I found like a solid group of friends.
Yeah. How old are you this time now?
I am, I'm 8.
Okay.
Yeah, 5th grade. I can't remember. Yeah, 8 or something like that. And that's when I find a solid group of friends. These kids are, they're wearing the Joe Soaps, the island style, the skateboarding, that type of vibe, you know. So it's very alternative vibes. And I think this time, this sort of era really informed a lot of the things that I liked. And anyway, fast forward from all that, basically I've just been drawing for a long time. I did architecture, graduated from that, and then I started, I don't know if you guys remember Super Strikers, the soccer comic.
Of course. That
was my first job ever after architecture, because I was kind of like, I don't want to be stuck in an office just drawing.
Did you do the architecture? Did you start studying? Okay, and that's something your folks like try to also.
I did skip past that. Yeah, my parents were very much at a certain point. They kind of did not support sort of my art sort of aspirations, and they were like, okay, if you're gonna draw, you're gonna do architecture. That's what you're gonna do. And I was like, damn, okay. Yeah. And then I had a deal with my dad. I was like, okay, listen, like if I'm going to do architecture, you have to let me graduate. But after I graduate, like this is my choice.
Gotcha.
And I think in his head, he was like, oh yeah, this kid's going to outgrow, the DBZ, blah, 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 this and that, right? And I actually remember like while I was studying, I was actually in my sort of my plans and my section drawings, I was drawing Gundams. I was like, when you populate buildings with characters. My man was spending 90% of his time on the characters. Lecturer was like, "You're in the wrong industry," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, you know."
Oh, your lecturer told you that?
Yeah, he told me straight up. I don't know. I didn't know whether to feel insulted or kind of like
That's
validated.
dope for someone to see that and to point it out.
Yeah,
like,
but the way he said it was kind of ambiguous. He was kind of like,
the same for you.
Same for you, bro. Something like that, bro.
But was there anything you got from the architecture side of things? Like, is there some like
100% the lifestyle of not sleeping? That's what I gained.
Okay, wow.
That's a big one because architecture is no joke. You kind of it's very much if you haven't been through it, it's hard to explain. But you go through high school and there are nights where you have to stay up and work. Architecture is like that's not the exception. That's the norm, right? So that mind shift is quite a big one because I think a lot of people go through life being like, oh man, like I had to do an all-nighter. It's like all-nighter is normal, and I think that really is like a weird mind flip where it's like you are expected to put this copious amount of work for very little reward too, because it wasn't guaranteed that you were gonna get a high score if you had been working the whole night, right?
Because my dad was also a civil engineer, so I relate, bro. And there's just also from the architecture side, it's like there's also at the end of the day, these things must not kill other people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? People have to like...
It's real.
It's real, bro. Like,
real.
You know, like the flaws and the architecture and the design and, you know, it's real.
Yeah.
And that comes with a whole other level of worry and sleepless nights, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that really pushed me away from it too, because I always had really sort of out there ideas for what I wanted to design, and I found the constraints of the real world like too much, and I was like, I don't have to worry about this in animation, so why worry about that?
You're not gonna die, other than the characters. Nope, it's cool.
You know, and then the other thing it taught me was very much technical drawing. I think it's just one of those things where if you're going to a school and they're teaching you how to like the rules of drawing, it's always going to benefit you in any
100%
in any other thing. Your draftsmanship is going to increase.
And did you finish it? Did you finish it?
My bachelor's,
Amazing. And bro, just taking a couple of steps back. So this time in Cape Town, like what would you say are some of the, you know, works of art, shows, animes? What are some of the things that are really
informing me? Like
what's keeping you also like inspired to keep doing something? Like I think of all the things I did throughout high school and how like, you know, the only thing that got me to keep beatboxing was my love for hip hop music and like the tracks that kept coming out, and there's like something's feeding the thing, you know, like what's feeding you wanting to carry on? Like at this time, it's not like you're catching a job where you catch a paycheck and you're like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing this. Like what keeps you like?
For like most of high school, I was very much into anime, I was into hip hop, and I was into martial arts. Those three things.
Okay.
And
where does martial arts, like where does that start? Where does
my dad, a lot of the stuff starts with my dad. My dad was a black belt karate dude.
Oh, crazy, bro.
And he used to watch a lot of like Jackie Chan stuff. So
crazy.
From a young age, I was just like consuming a lot of that content.
Okay, dope.
And then I started martial arts, but like every movie I watched was like usually a martial arts film. Then the anime side of things, I would just be getting like, you know, remember the Spindle CDs, bro? Like that shit would just be passed around in school.
Crazy. Man.
And I remember like for me the big show or the piece of media that really changed my mind and sort of made me want to get better was there's an anime called Evangelion. It's like this anime thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just a super high quality draftsmanship. And to this day, I'm just like still chasing that standard. It's a beautiful show. That and this other movie called Spriggan from back in the day. So.
What's that? Why does that sound familiar?
Spriggan, they did a remake recently.
Yes.
But it's cool. I would recommend it. It's very cool.
Okay, that's amazing. So that then that makes a lot of sense. So that's like as you're doing learning moves, you're trying to
I was very much
animate it or illustrate it and get those keyframes, and then and your love for music rhythm comes from, like, I think talks a lot of volumes in your work today. Like I think that's something we've touched on many a times in conversation. That's amazing.
I actually remember, like, so I was never into animation. I didn't think I could be an animator because like in my head animation was very much this thing that's like exclusively for Asians or Disney or whoever the case is, and it's just too much drawing. You're just drawing like every frame. That's nuts.
Yes.
But I think I was building the framework for that in terms of I would train, and I would draw poses of the stuff and very sort of realistically informed poses because I was doing the things that I was drawing.
Yes.
So I think it's definitely benefited me to this day in terms of action design and that kind of thing.
Okay, so this time you're not even animating yet.
No, I'm just
okay.
My back in the day, the career options were like graphic designer. That was it, 100%. And I was just kind of like, okay, this is a drawing job. I'll do that. But like, if I look back, it was literally building up to animation. But I just didn't know it. I was just kind of like,
okay.
I'm
so when does that come in? Is that after architecture?
Animation.
Yeah.
So it's a while after architecture. Actually,
wow.
As I was saying, I went
let's take us back to
a Striker.
Yes.
Chapter 3 on Netflix. I'm at Striker, and then I look around me and I see a lot of talented artists not making a lot of money, right? And that like, I think that was one of the things at the back of my mind where I was like, my parents had always drilled into me that like, artists don't make money, you're gonna be on the streets, blah, blah, this and that. So I was always like, I really want to do this, but I also want to make money doing this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh man, like I see a 30-year-old guy in front of me. No shade to him. Like a lot of the artists are doing really well now, but at the time I was like, damn, I don't know if I want this to be me at 30, right? So I was like, I started thinking about ways to like get out of this situation. Let me get as much like experience as I can, and then see what I can do from here. So I tried a lot of stuff. I started a t-shirt company.
What was it
called? Rocketboi. That's where the Rocketboi.
Okay, is that where Rocketboi comes from? Okay, what was the inspiration behind the name?
It's a trick, martial arts. So I used to do martial arts tricking, which is like flips and stuff. And one of my favorite moves to perform was a Rocketboi, and I just thought it sounded cool because you do a backflip and then your two legs kind of go up and you grab both legs. It's a very cool move.
Got you.
So I was just like, whatever. I'll just throw this on a t-shirt. I started the t-shirt thing that went wherever, but I think that entrepreneurial spirit was kind of building, building in my head, like make something to see what can become of that. And I think over time that's where the animation comes in, because I started thinking about like, okay, I'm working at a studio. This is after Striker, by the way. I went to a game studio, like they were doing mobile games and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything was fine. I remember sitting there and I was like, I'm getting paid okay, but it's still not great. And I'm kind of just like living life, waking up, doing my thing. And I was like, nah, there needs to be more that I can do. And the stuff that I was working on wasn't exactly what I wanted to work on.
What were you doing then? Are you coming to work and like designing character? Are you like, what is it more of?
So at this time, I became an art director for this studio. It's a very small sort of mobile games and casino vibe. And they're called blah 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 studios. And it was actually quite a cool vibe because I was put into an art director position when the previous director had left. And it gave me a bit of range to kind of
creative
exercise the stuff I wanted to do. So if a project comes in, I'll be like, oh, maybe we should do this in anime style, and then they would we would go in that direction, which was cool.
That's dope. Yeah.
And the nice thing about it too is the turnaround was quite quick. So it's not like a film where you're working on it for 2 years. It's kind of like you're making games in like 2 months, right? So you're just going through content, like, you're just shooting through it, and you're getting like practice and reps in, basically.
And how big is your team that you're working with?
6 dudes.
Okay, amazing. And you're getting to also learn to lead a team in ways and learn
but it was chill, man. We used to come and talk shit, just draw and then bounce. And that's where the comfort started coming in. And that comfort became uncomfortable because I was like, this is not exactly what I want to do. And it felt like I was trying to convince the higher ups to do things that I actually wanted to do. But you always had to compromise. Like, all right, we can do the anime thing, but it's not really anime. But I was like, no, I actually want to do the thing.
Yes.
That I was inspired by. I feel like I could do it. And at the time, that was unheard of in terms of any South African.
Malcolm, it's a casino game. We're not sure about a fight scene in the middle of the casino.
Literally, bro.
Okay, dope.
So I used to take that frustration home, and then I would start drawing. And then at the time, I was also really peaking with tricking, the flipping and stuff.
Amazing. And tricking is like you said, it's almost like not breakdancing, but it's like doing the flips, and guys have competitions and they're up against each other. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's like gymnastics,
amazing,
martial arts stuff, breakdancing, all fused together, and people just doing
amazing,
crazy stuff, real life video game moves.
Yeah.
So I'm going home and I'm like, can I build a project that encompasses everything that I love, right? So I what did I do? I think I started drawing. I drew Nas, and I drew Kendrick Lamar as these kung fu characters.
Crazy.
And then I was like, there's something here where it's like rappers and martial arts. There's an overlap that's kind of cool here.
Yes.
So that's where I came up with this thing, Kung Fu is Dead. And the original idea was it's this world where these rap crews they do kung fu, but their style is kind of rap based in a way. I was also big into the whole rap battles scene.
Yes.
Vibe,
yeah, of course.
So I was like, what if it's they go to the school, but the school is a record label, and there's just different crews in the school, and they have to fight each other, this and that. And then that's my martial arts coming in too. And I started doing animation tests. And over time, I was developing the story and moved a little bit more away from the sort of music thing, but it still had that flavor, that energy, that initial energy that I wanted. But that's when I started animating. I was kind of like, okay, I feel like this thing needs to move because it's martial arts. It needs some kinetic motion. So I was like, all right, let me just try this thing. 3 seconds, spent 3 weeks on it. I was like, this is hard as fuck.
Crazy.
But then you just keep doing it more.
Are you on, is it Toon, what's the?
I was using TV Paint.
TV Paint, that's
TV Paint
it. Okay.
Animation.
And you still use TV Paint till today?
To this day.
TV Paint, and you said After Effects.
After Effects.
That's
post.
Incredible, man.
My vibes, yeah.
Okay, so now you're animating 3 second, short little kicks.
Yeah, and then the other big one was, so I started developing the show a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a teaser for this thing to maybe pitch it. And I was like, okay, my animation skill alone is not, I don't think I can do this by myself. So I'm like, I'm going to reach out to someone that I look up to and pay them for some animation. And there's a guy called Waylon Zhang, and he was popping off at the time, but he was still fairly young. Now he's just kind of he's doing this, a lot of stuff. I reached out to him and I was like, he's probably not going to reply. Homie replied. And I remember I was just I felt like a little girl, I was like, whoa, you replied.
Crazy, man.
And he was like, yeah, you could do this thing. And then I was like, cool, okay. And I told him, he asked me how much he wanted to get paid. I asked him how much he wanted to get paid. He told me, I was like, okay, for a personal project, you know what, I'll do it, right? I forked it out of my pocket.
Are we talking 10K USD? Are we talking?
It was not. It was. What was it? It wasn't that much retrospectively, but at the time for me, it was
I'm sure the whole world. Yeah.
It must have been 40K maybe.
Okay.
For 15 seconds of animation.
Jeez, bro.
But then.
But that's crazy. That's showing your entrepreneurial and directing, visual eye. I just want to quickly, bro, before we carry on here, just for people who don't know, I know you've explained the concept of Kung Fu is Dead, but so Kung Fu is Dead is basically your first feature. Is it a series? Is it or is it going to be a film? I know it's something you've been working on for many, many years, and it's developing, and you are very open with people and public how you are building it and how far it's coming along. Like, in your own words, what is Kung Fu is Dead?
Yeah, sure. Kung Fu is Dead was initially conceived as an idea, as a platform for me to do many things with it, right? To just really exercise a lot of concepts, whether it's games, music, or animation. And I think the legs that grew the quickest is the animation part of it. So
Got you.
I pitched it as an animated series to Warner Brothers.
Yes.
It's still in development with them.
Wow.
It just needs to find its legs to come to fruition. But
Got you.
it's an animated series.
Incredible.
It's anyone who loves Kung Fu films from back in the day, the ETV stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you like the vibe that hip hop brings, you want to see black characters in animation, that's what Kung Fu is Dead is, I think.
I love that.
Brings a lot of those things together.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you bring a bit of Cape Town flair into it, man. I love it, man.
Exactly.
It's just you've got such a great eye for it. All right, so back to the storyline, bro. So we are now in this development phase of Kung Fu is Dead.
Yes.
Oh, is this when you're starting to get a little bit of traction on socials? Right. Are you getting quite a bit of attention now from studios? Whereabouts are you now?
So the Waylon Zhang thing. So
yes.
So he's doing animation for me. I'm forking out the money for it. And then I remember there was a feeling I got where I was like, again, no shade to him. Like, he was just very busy.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to get the thing done, but obviously I had to obey his timeline. So I was like, there was a feeling I got where I was like, man, I should be able to do this myself. I should be able to do this myself. I don't want to be relying on someone else for the rest of my life for this project, right? So that's when I just started animating. I started just doing my own thing. Then I remember he sent me some roughs and some storyboards and some roughs. And then I took his work and I basically took it to comp to post and finish it, clean it up and everything. And that was a crazy internship kind of moment. Schoolism vibe. Yeah, because I'm looking at this dude's animation and I'm going frame by frame, cleaning it up, and I'm learning what he's doing with the animation, and I'm just downloading tech, right? So I'm like, oh, this is what he does. Okay, this is how you do this, boom, this and that. So I'm getting it all in.
And if we have to explain that process, bro, that's a rough draft that you get that doesn't have the sort of final line work. It doesn't have color.
It doesn't have nothing.
Doesn't have backgrounds or anything like that. Exactly. And then
So it was literally I built a mini studio, which is quite cool. I got in some friends to help me with painting up the backgrounds.
Crazy.
I took Waylon's rough animation and I started cleaning it up.
Crazy.
And I was learning as I was going. I was like, all right, this is how you boom, this and that. And I did the ink and paint, took it into After Effects, got some guy to help me with sound. Ollie, it's my boy. I work with him.
Shout out to Ollie, yeah. Ollie.
This other guy, Vadan, gave me fight sound effects. He's doing crazy stuff now. He was on Dune and everything.
Oh wow,
people are making it
crazy.
Help me with fight sound effects and everything. So I was very fortunate to have people around that I could kind of just
community that you've built over time,
pull from, and learn from. I was just learning from everyone. I was like, oh, this is how you paint backgrounds. Because I'm kind of the kind of guy that I want to do everything.
Yeah.
But I also know that I can't do everything. But I'm gonna learn a little bit of everything to make myself stronger. So I was just like.
And you're doing that through collaboration, which is so dope, as opposed to dry hire. You're going there's certain people you had to hire, but then the ones you're leaning on the community, that's so incredible that you get to lean on their skills and collaborate on something that's your own.
Exactly.
And are people excited about this? I'm sure they're seeing what you're busy with and they're like, yo, we want to be a part of this.
Exactly. I also have to give respect to another local studio, Lucan Studios.
Yeah.
Because before I even got into the Wayland Zhang thing, they were the ones that were like, they saw some of my work online because I was just doing what's called like sort of just like mood boards or illustrations, but like snapshots of the show, what the show could be.
Okay.
And I try to make it look as finished as possible. So if you're looking at it, you're like, what is this show? And then you realize, oh, it's just an idea.
Got you.
So Lucan, one of the higher ups there, I went to school with, Andrew McNally, and he was like, yo, this is dope. And so he and his team took my still illustrations and put motion.
Oh, wow.
And I actually remember one of the animators, Nadia Darius, shout outs to you. But yeah, she did such a great job. And I think from there I was like, oh man, this stuff needs to move. And then I started
Amazing. Okay, so you started seeing it come alive, and you were like, okay, we need to do more of this. This is where it's at. Okay, incredible.
So fast forward, Wayland finishes the stuff.
Yeah.
Thank him for it. I finished the teaser thing, and I just drop it online. And I think that's what picked up my Instagram quite a bit, because it's like, I feel like there was a mixture of, firstly, it's like this 2D action that Wayland brought. Then there's the idea and the design style that I brought in, and the way I put it together, and the fact that I'm a creator from South Africa must have been like, what the heck, like
huge.
So it's like multiple factors that made it kind of like pop, right? It's like, Africans do this,
100%.
Weird.
Yeah.
But ever since that point, I was like, I put it out, got attention from it. I still felt like, okay, I made this thing. This is just the beginning. There's so much that I want to improve at. Firstly, Wayland Zhang's animation was on the thing. I want my animation to reach Wayland Zhang's level and surpass it. So that was like one of my drivers to like keep animating.
Got you.
A big one. And then the other one was started pitching. Triggerfish, I reached out, and they were quite interested in the project.
Cape Town based
studio. I think I would say the biggest animation studio actually.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it low key launched my career, because they got me onto a job with Netflix, not Kung Fu's Dead, another gig that they were doing. Yeah. They skew more younger audience, but they definitely opened up contacts for bigger studios and
bigger conversations.
Bigger conversations, yeah.
Okay.
And that's where kind of a lot of this pitching
got you process, and you learned how to package stuff and how to, because it's something I've spoken to you about, like that process. Like, I think, bro, also if you can just give us like, if I want to put a show together, firstly, you're saying like 3 seconds of animation can take you how long? Forever.
Like
Finished, yeah.
It could take you like 2 weeks. 3 seconds of animation.
Got
3
you.
weeks maybe. Yeah.
So this is like, and this is seasoned pros. It's taking you 2 weeks for 3 seconds. So like in reality, would you agree that, to put a whole hour show, 2 hour show, that has to be a team effort. That's something like, if one person were to put everything together, I don't want to say it's impossible, because I don't think anything's impossible,
Yeah.
But it might take you like 5 years or something crazy, to put, if not longer,
I don't think, like, one person. There's this guy, this Japanese animator. He did a personal project called Puparia, and it took him 2 years, and the thing was, I want to say 30 seconds.
Crazy.
1 minute, maybe 1 minute, but it was like 2 years of work.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So it's like, it takes a lot. It takes a community to put this together, and the right team and the right people and the right energy, I guess, of people. It's like putting a music festival or a movie together, or, you got to handpick some of the best people to come together, and it's quite a process, man. So it's like, it's crazy, bro, to see like where you're taking it. Bro, so tell me now, back to your storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Are we now like, when does the first sort of job come in where you're like getting to do
oh, this is like
Rocketboi, it's getting to do what Rocketboi does.
Right.
Like, where does that sort of transition come in? Is that sort of gradual, or is there a specific job where you're like,
it's a bit of both. So
Yeah.
what was the first gig? I think my first big-ish gig was Witcher.
okay,
Was it Witcher? No, there was the League of Legends thing.
yes,
It was a
yes,
small League of Legends thing, like a very small team. Titmouse actually did it. Yeah, Titmouse is a big studio in LA,
Yes.
2D studio, and at the time, I think they were pushing a lot of their 2D stuff. Now they're doing like crazy stuff.
Are you getting booked through like a manager or an agent, or how is
Instagram,
this
dog.
happening? Instagram. Serious?
Instagram, Behance, and ArtStation. Like,
Okay.
I've been very fortunate with my career, like, because sometimes I don't think I've had to apply for a gig in a while.
Got you.
My one of my first applications was Striker, and since then it's just been like, hey, you
One
wanna
to
work
the
on this,
next.
this, and that,
Okay,
you know?
got you.
Touch wood. You know?
Yeah.
I still get like super
Yeah.
anxious about it. I'm like, what if no one?
Yeah,
rings the
yeah,
bell
yeah,
anymore?
yeah.
Yeah. So I did a League of Legends thing. That was really cool. I had so much to learn. It was difficult. It didn't feel like I knew what I was doing, but I pushed it out anyway. And then the first big one was Witcher. This Korean studio, Red Dog Culture House.
Yes.
I think Sin Bei. He reached out and he had been following my stuff on, I want to say Facebook or Behance or something like that. And he was just like, yeah, you want to work on this thing? And I have so much love for this guy because imagine this Korean dude who runs a studio. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to give an opportunity to this African dude with Witcher, right?
Crazy.
And I thought that was really cool of him. And this was before like they were hiring. I think now it's very normal to like hire wherever, but I think back then it was quite like cool of him to do.
Incredible.
He was stepping up. This was like 2017, I want to say. So yeah, did Witcher. Also a very difficult task, learning as I'm going, and that's like the worst position to be in. Best and worst because it's difficult, it's stressful.
I'm
'Cause
sure,
you're like,
yeah.
oh, what is this? Then you go to YouTube and you just stay on YouTube, listen to this man tell you what to do, and then you go back and do it.
Crazy. And what is your exact role like on
I was
Witcher now?
key animator.
Okay.
Key anim.
And are
Did I
they
do
bringing you
layouts?
for
No, I just key
specific
animation.
like the fighting
Yeah, it was a fight.
scenes
It was
or
a fight,
okay,
yeah.
got you.
It was Vesmer fighting some ghouls.
Okay, crazy man.
Yeah, it's I love the Asian, the Korean and Japanese industry too, because with the Western animation industry, I feel like it's great, but there's something about the Asian market that where they cost you for what you're good at, and they're like,
Got you.
this you do this, so do what you do.
Do what you do.
And it's kind of cool. There's a freedom in that.
Amazing.
And I think that's where like the quality of the shows do this, because
Yes,
like
yes.
it's kind of like a bit more, in my opinion, wild west.
Yes. Which is good.
Yeah.
You gotta fail as long as you like trying to push the boundary while you're doing that. And bro, are you like, just so I can understand, you know, you gotta imagine you chatting to someone that's like never ever
Yes.
stepped into your realm. Are these scenes already referenced and choreographed and ready when they pass it to you, or is there something you're coming up with the actual fight scene itself, or how is that process?
It all depends on the pipeline, but so I'll give Witcher for an example.
Yeah.
It was very much bare bones. There's a storyboard.
Got you.
And the storyboard might be like, okay, Vismer is gonna slash these monsters 3
Yes.
times, and then in the next shot he has to do a jump. But then it's very much just like descriptive, not super detailed. So it's my job as an animator to be like, okay, how's the choreography gonna work for this, right?
Wow.
So do I want him to maybe do like a butterfly twist and then
That's
do
crazy.
the
So
thing,
you, like-
add some style,
Wow, man.
and also like you try to understand the character, you read the
Yes.
script, and you're like, okay, this character would do this, and then you really
Wow.
infuse a lot of personality into the thing. So you are doing choreography. I often, what I do is I film myself.
Yes.
I'll just film kind of like a scene. I'll look at the storyboard. Be like, okay, what would that look like in live action?
Gotcha.
I'll film myself in my lounge. My wife Leslie will just be like, "What the fuck's going on?" And I'm like, "No, don't worry about it." So I'm just like doing my thing with a broomstick.
Yeah. That's incredible, man.
I put it on the machine and I see what my body's doing, and then that's what I'm referencing to animate. Yeah,
that's crazy. All right, and so from Witcher, what comes after Witcher? Just turn your mic just like this, bro. Just there, just then. Yeah.
What comes after Witcher?
What are some of the sort of key projects that you would say that one, help you level up?
Yeah.
And then just help you grow a profile. Or I would even love for you to touch on some of the more challenging projects. So you're going from show to show. They're still hitting you up on Instagram. Are you taking up a manager anywhere here now after Witcher? I mean, you've worked on Witcher now. It's definitely like
there's still, I don't know, man.
Yes,
I like life simple, so I often, whenever there's like new stuff coming about where like people like I can manage you, I'm always like wait, I'm good with my email and my yahoo.com, I'm good, bro. I still use yahoo.com actually. That's my website. My email. What comes afterwards? So my career is actually, it has two paths at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's the animation side, the anime side.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about anime, it doesn't pay very well.
Okay.
But that's the thing that I'm like, man, I enjoy it the most, and I'm gonna gather as much experience and knowledge from here to feed in this other career path, which is like I was doing character design for a lot of Western studios, for Triggerfish, for example.
Yes.
And that paid obviously a lot better. But then this side also started being like, can you do storyboarding? I'm like, yeah, I can do storyboarding. So there's a studio called The Line Animation. They're a UK studio. And they gave me quite a cool Valorant gig.
Wow.
And I did storyboarding and animation for them. And obviously that's through the work that they saw on this side.
Yes.
Shout outs to Wesley Lewis. He's a really cool, big inspiration for me. He's a black dude in
incredible
in the UK. So he saw my work and he was like, yeah, we need Malcolm on this. And then I
explain that to me, bro. So like, do I understand you correctly in the sense of like from the character design side as well, depending on the pipeline, they would go, this is the character, this is how we see them with a description, and then you're pretty much putting together what some of these characters will look like. And then your story, when you're saying you storyboarding, are you actually building out the actual key visuals for the very story itself?
Yeah, so
like you would in video.
Exactly. Think about it in different departments in live action.
Yes.
You have your casting and costume department.
Yes.
I would say that's where I would say the character design is.
Okay.
Because you kind of like you're designing the character, right? What are they wearing? What are their expressions like?
Crazy.
Do they have a tattoo or whatever it is? All that encompasses the look of the character. It's character design.
It's crazy.
And you have the animation team.
It's a lot to consider. Like you gotta know that character. Like you gotta know the psychology of that very character. How they are in so many different situations, their wardrobe, their clothing. That's crazy, man.
And your technical skill. Like character design is one of those things where it's like you gotta be technical, but you also gotta find a way to capture appeal. And that I found super difficult with character design. I think that's the most challenging part of character design, because you can't quantify appeal. You can't quantify what makes someone endeared to a character, right? Crazy, so you'll draw something and then you'll present it to the team, and if they don't fuck with it, they don't fuck with it. This is weird. It's like you just have to like get the appeal, and obviously you find tricks to like kind of get that like likability of the character, but yeah, it's a difficult task. It's one of those like fine skills, I think.
Crazy.
Which is why it's held in high regard.
Okay, so you're in this like path now where you're going cool. The animation side's taking off, but you're also storyboarding and
character design. Character design is like a big thing. So I'm getting calls to do character design, but I'm also getting calls to do storyboarding, and then here I'm getting calls to do pure animation, keyframe animation.
And this side's paying better. The storyboard
pays way better.
Wow.
Yeah, much better. Because it's also the big studios like Netflix and all that.
Got you.
But I love this side. This is my passion.
Wow.
But it's interesting because this side feeds this side too. Because it's like people are like, oh, you can do that, and you can do this. So what was I talking about?
So Witcher? You Triggerfish. You've got Witcher. After Witcher, you work on a bunch of projects with more on the character design?
Yeah. So the line.
Yes.
So basically, I did storyboarding for them, and I did also animation for them. That was nice big sort of project that got my name out, I would say. And then I think the big animation switch happens here because I get reached out by Mappa, and they do a lot of like the big animes and stuff.
Yeah.
And not just Mappa, Shinichiro Watanabe, who is he's a creator of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Sure.
If you know anime, you probably know his projects. This is what they said, and maybe it's just like a recruiting tactic, but they were like, yo, Watanabe personally saw your work and wanted you to be on his team.
Come on, bro. We don't care
if it is, bro.
I'll take it, bro. Take that shit all day, bro.
He wanted me.
That's crazy, bro. That's talks volumes, man.
But like, it's cool. There's a greater truth to it because I've Skyped with him before. We've met on a call, and he's like, yeah, man, love your work. And I'm like, oh, man, big fan of yours. So I've been working on his project. It's called Lazarus. Yeah, it's like it's an HBO Max thing, and this is like literally the perfect project for me because the main character, he kind of does parkour and free running and tricking. They're working with 8711. 8711 is a live action stunt team that did John Wick, this and that. Yes. The person that is doing, I don't know how much I can say.
Yes.
I feel like I can. The person that's doing a lot of the stunt work in 8711 is Jeremy Marinas. Jeremy Marinas is a famous tricker that I used to watch way back in high school.
Wow.
Like I was watching his stuff like forever. So I'm getting approached with this project from this guy that I've looked up to, this animation person I've looked up to.
Incredible.
And then there's on the live action side, these guys that I've looked up to, and I'm just looking at my folder on my computer. I'm like,
this is crazy.
This is crazy, right? I got to put my all into this. So that's I really skilled up quite a bit on that. And then on the from the Korean side, the Witcher side, there's a studio called Studio Mirror. They did Avatar, the Lost Legend of Korra. Sorry.
Yes.
Which
was dope. I enjoyed.
Yeah, it was cool.
You know.
We built like quite a cool relationship because I went to Korea. You were there with me.
Yeah.
I had been working on their what was I working on? Their new Witcher project and something. Oh, Star Wars. That was it. I was working on Star Wars Visions with them.
Yes.
And I actually remember I handed in the work super late, and I was just like, oh man, I don't know if they're gonna fuck with me. Like when I get there. I get to the studio, man, people are nice, friendly. I was like, man, this is so cool. And they've just been like constantly sort of coming back to me for work. So I got onto their new Witcher project, which is quite cool.
Incredible.
So the last couple of years, I've actually been very animation heavy and less on the character design side. But in terms of now this side of my career, where that's pushing is more direction. And that's in big thanks to Triggerfish.
Yes.
Triggerfish hosted this kind of this project called Kizazimoto, which is like an anthology of Afrofuturist stories. And I was fortunate enough through them to be one of the directors of one of the shorts with Disney Plus. So I think like that's outside of the animation I'm doing every day. I'm also doing a lot of pitching, and there's a couple of projects that I can hopefully direct in the future. And I'm kind of like using a lot of that this animation sort of groundwork and slug work to kind of inform a direction style I feel that I want for myself that's a lot more hands-on, because I want to know what the challenges the artists are going through, and I believe in having a very unified vision from director to end product, because often like there's a couple of ways productions can go, because sometimes you might have an idea and then the composition of the team might kind of change the idea, and you just kind of
like some people, and it's like such a crazy dynamic. You're dealing with so many people, one thing can be off and then it can throw this off, and that's crazy,
and it becomes its own monster, and you kind of just gotta let go, you know.
Yeah.
Or you do the Paul Atreides, get on the sandworm, and you control it.
Yeah.
So I wanna.
And was that your first directing gig?
Very first one.
That was your episode was
The Mkhuzi, the Spirit
that's
Racer.
the one, the Spirit Racer. Yeah.
You spoke about difficult challenges. That I would say that's my most challenging
Really
job to this day. Yeah, it was very, I think, stressful because I had done so much animation in my own capacity. So I had this expectation of like, okay, this is how I would do it. But when you're dealing with a team, it's different, man. It's like
100%.
It's just very different. It's another skill that you have to unlock.
Yeah.
And there's so many factors, controllable factors that come into play that you just have to like juggle. So it's like that stuff comes with experience, I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot, but like there's so much that I want to improve in it. It's just I feel the same way. My first animation gig where I was like, man, I need to do so much better. This is what I feel with this. I'm like, oh man, the next one I have to slay.
But I mean, you won't know those things until you're in that maze, right? Yeah. Until you know, wow, there's a dead end here. I need to take a left there. Oh, when you take the left, there's another dead end. So I have to go back the way I came and then take a right. And then there's two other ways. So we're going to try these two ways. Once you're in the maze, like you figure it out. And I think it's just incredible that you can do that now with these projects.
Yeah.
So by the time Kung Fu's Dead comes around, like you're gonna have whether you direct it or get someone else to direct it, you're gonna have such a better idea of that workflow and 100%. That world and that maze. You know what I mean? So I think it's beautiful, man, because it's like all the different things you've gotten involved with throughout your path have somehow laid way for the next thing that's coming on your path. Do you look back at is there any of the work that you look back on that's like this one I'm not sure?
All of it, bro. To be honest with
really
you.
Bro,
I
no, man.
As soon as something comes out, there's something about like I look at it, I'm like, man, post nut clarity. I just want to do better next time.
That's crazy, bro. Really?
Yeah.
You don't like. I was telling you, I hit you up after the Star Wars visions. It's like I don't know if it's now that I keep a closer eye on your work, where I'm like I can distinctively tell. It's like this is where you come in. It's like you really feel it. You're like, oh shit, okay.
Oh man, thank you.
Malcolm has taken the wheel.
Thank you.
It's like no one else is driving right now. You can tell, So it's like. And I've always told you, like, what blows me away about what you do is like that timing you have caught in your fight scenes is like, it's almost like when we go back to DBZ now, we imagined it like that, but you watch it, you're like, hey man, this is a little slower than I remember.
But sketch, yeah.
But it's like you just the way you capture that energy of movement, of like your hits, bro, the energy, the movement, the speed, and the rhythm of like breaks of like characters. That's why you Rocketboi, man. You like that flip where you just hold before you. And it's incredible to see, man. You're definitely someone who's also putting a lot of people on. I've had the opportunity to come with you to some of these studios, like in Korea or even in Johannesburg, and just to see the love you get in your community and how so many kids look at you and they go like, yo, because he can do it, I can do it. And it's like, to see you going up to is it called the Wacom, mate? Going up to the tablets and you're like, yo, my G, just this, change that. That's crazy, man. So, bro, a couple of questions for you. Like, where does it go from here? Like, where do you see the next sort of 5 years, 10 years? Is it the studio route? Is it more this side, the animation side? Is it job to job, or does there come a point where you go, okay, now I make what I want to make?
For sure,
like, where does that go?
I think the job to job thing needs to slow down at some point because it's super taxing on the health and everything. Like I was telling you, I woke up at 7 a.m. today. So
crazy, man.
I do definitely want to I've achieved a lot of what I wanted to achieve, which I'm content about. I've got to work with amazing studios and people, and I think the thing that will make me most content now is creating something that's my own, that I'm proud of, because I feel like the projects that I've kind of led to this point, they've always almost gotten there, but like not quite there yet. So I think like Mkhuzi, that would be a great thing to happen.
Incredible.
If that doesn't happen, there's a couple of other projects that my name is kind of in the mix for, which I think could satisfy that itch. But that's the main thing, just like getting into that director seat with solid grounding, you know, not feeling like a deer in the headlights. It's really like kind of like understanding what it is I want to make and executing it like to the best that I can. That's the main aim for now. That's the midterm goal, you know.
Got you.
Long term, I don't know. I want to chill, bro. I wanna have some kids, you know. I just want to draw. Drawing. I love drawing. Drawing's my vocation. That's what I want to do.
Are you still tricking?
Oh, this has been a minute, man. Yeah. I do throw down sometimes.
Yeah.
But the kids, like the talent in Cape Town at the moment is crazy.
Really?
It's like quite intense. I'll send you some videos, but
please, bro, please.
They're really good.
And bro, if if there's some young kid who's got the drawing on lock, like what would you advise someone the route to take? I mean, everybody's path is different. Just sort of high level from your side that you think, couple of pointers, like where's a good place to start? Where should they focus their time? What's the best route to take?
For sure. I think the younger you are, the more you know, you can find out what it is you want to do in the industry, the better. Because the one regret I have is kind of like, I didn't know what was what. So I was kind of like trying many different things. But I feel like if I had honed in on like a specific angle, it might have pushed me further quicker. That being said, don't be afraid to try different things. Just understand the industry as much as possible at an early age, so you know, like, okay, I want to be a character designer, or I want to be an animator, this and that. And then in terms of animation, there's so many resources now. There's an animation school in Cape Town that you can go to. I think the biggest draw for that, or biggest advantage for that going there, is you just make connections, and connections just help you connect you to studios and that type of thing.
Okay, amazing.
If you want to go indie and solo, you just gotta grind and hope that people notice you. But it's definitely like it's a solitary gig. You have to be comfortable with being by yourself and just working. So work bloody hard and try and make connections as much as possible. You know.
Got you.
Yeah.
And bro, what is, like, if I get booked by a big studio to work on a project, what is that process like? It's obviously dependent on my role, but if I'm a director, do I get some sort of a percentage in the work? Do I get or do you have to have a much bigger profile for that, and you just get like a director's salary? What does that look like?
It depends, but you'll basically have a director's fee.
Okay.
It's a job.
Got you.
In a sense. But like, it depends. So you might be a creator of the thing.
Yeah.
And then in your deal, it's you have some kind of ownership, some shared ownership. It could be a small amount.
Got you.
And then you'll get bonuses for when things air and stuff like that.
Got you.
But like, creator and director is two different roles.
Two different roles.
You can be both, but it's two separate deals.
Separate deals. Yeah. Got you. That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's good for you to share this, man. It's like such. Yeah. It's you see major labels exist on that side too, you know.
I was gonna add too, the other project I was very proud of was Blue Eye Samurai, and it did super well.
I have to touch on that, man.
That was like a great opportunity, and can't wait for season 2.
I mean, it's one of those shows that it's like I feel like they've made it palatable for anybody. Like, you don't need to be an anime lover, and I just feel like it's only going to get better. And it's just like one of those shows that I was blown away by it. I won't lie to you. I was like, yo, this is pushing a boundary. This feels like something that's going to grow something further, you know, story wise, like just how beautiful the actual show is. Like, you know, that it's capturing you in every little like moment is so detailed, you know?
Yeah.
And what was your role there, bro? You were character designer.
Character designer, yeah.
Okay.
So I was part of a team of 4 people under Brian Kissinger, who was the lead character guy.
Yeah.
And Jane Wu was the director. She's got like super experience with different things. The one of the reasons I would say that was quite palatable was she's worked in live action for a long time too, so she brought a lot of those sensibilities into the show. That's why it feels like a live action show, and yeah, that kind of thing.
Incredible, bro. I think that's definitely one that's like, wow, you know, like I definitely hit you up straight after. It's like, yo, this is crazy, bro.
I saw your name. I'm like, yeah.
Nah, it's crazy, bro. I think the first time I had like seen your work, bro, was what's that Titans with your fight scene in, what was the show, bro?
Titans.
Not Clash of Titans, man. What was it?
Trying to think what you've seen at the time.
First.
It's all a blur, bro.
Yeah. But I remember seeing the fight scene and I was like, what? And then I couldn't believe that you had done it. And I went back to your Instagram and I saw you had put up a sketch of that very same fight scene of how you had constructed it. And I was like, holy moly. I can't believe this is real. And I can't believe this is someone from Cape Town, like just doing their thing, bro. So
yeah.
It's incredible, man. Bro, if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Superpower?
Yeah.
Do you ask this to everyone or was it just me?
Don't worry.
Because of the cartoon. What superpower? Man. Oh, yeah. I know. Time manipulation or some kind of thing where I can just get more hours, bro. Like
crazy.
I feel like if you have more time, if you had control of time, let's say you could just like double the amount of time that you had, you could outpace everyone in the world. If you think about it.
Yeah, you could.
Imagine how much knowledge
you don't think you'll lose something important
you would lose.
Like, I mean, special.
The magic system would probably make it that you age twice. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But like if I imagine you could squeeze like 2 years in
hyperbolic time
in
chamber,
1 day,
get an extra
fucking hell.
In a day. That's dope. I like that. It says a lot about you, bro. Yeah. It's good that time is that important to you, bro. So it's like,
super.
To be present with that is mad important, bro.
And you can just like stop people from beating you up, just stop time.
Yeah.
Pick them up.
What's one?
Throw them off a building. Start time again. Boom. They're done.
What's one character in a show or anime that you wish you had designed or created?
Ooh, what's the name? There's a couple, but I would want to say Kaneda from Akira, for sure. Or Omanai Yu from Spriggan. Spriggan's like one of my top 5 movies, man. I just love the character. It's like this super soldier with cybernetic arms and shit. I don't know. He's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, thank you so much.
My man.
I know you've got another meeting that you need to run to.
Yes.
But thank you so much, bro. You're a legend. I'm so excited to see what you do next, bro. Like, I feel like anything you touch is turning into gold. And I'm super excited for Kung Fu's Day to come into fruition and for, you know, all the other projects you're going to do, bro. You're a good human. You are mad talented, bro. And you are definitely holding the continent's name like up there in terms of your world and animation, your character design, your directing. And so mad excited for you, bro. Let's see where you take it. And I'm super excited to have a front row seat to watch your life story, bro.
Thanks, George. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thanks
Anything else from your side, bro? Anything else you wanna?
No, I'm waiting for this podcast to.
It's coming.
Grow,
it's coming.
dude.
You ready, B? It's coming. Nah, don't lie, man. There's no one there, man. There's shit, man. There's no one yet. AI, baby. That's one thing I didn't ask you. I wanted to get your on AI. I'm sure everybody asks you.
Oh, I got opinions. Another time. Give me part 2, bro.
Part 2, baby. Part 2 coming soon. That was cool, bro.